gonna show you shitty ass games. They drive you all fucking insane. From Mario to stupid hedgehogs, these games just never seem to leave him alone. He'd rather eat barbed wire cactus served in a big ass waffle cone. He's the maddest gamer you've ever seen. These games suck so bad he'd lick his own feet. Better buckle up, here comes his anger. He's the maddest home video reviewer.
Hey, it's been a while. I know I've been gone for a while, but you know what hasn't left? Shitty fucking games. Now, this may come as a shock, but today I'm not going to be talking about a bad game. Today, I want to talk about a good game. Dig Dug.
Now, for anyone who enjoys video games, you at least have some knowledge about Namco. They're responsible for some of the most iconic games of all time, up there with the likes of Mario, Sonic, Link, and so on. They brought us games like Pac-Man and Galaga, which are both really good classic games. It's the kind of games you play at night with no lights on, just you and the game. The best part about these games is their replayability. There's no actual end to these games. They can seamlessly go on forever. So the goal is to just survive as long as possible until you lose all your lives.
These games have a charm that just lures you in every time, and everybody who's a gamer knows about them. But you know what game no one really talks about too much? Dig Dug. Why?
I mean, sure, some people will recognize Dig Dug, but compare that to Pac-Man. Everyone knows Pac-Man, and not only that, but Pac-Man still receives games every now and then, and not even just Namco collection games, I mean actual new video games. Meanwhile, Dig Dug hasn't gotten a single new release since 2005. That's a real bummer, because the gameplay, while simple, is pretty addicting, just like the other classic Namco games.
Now then, with all of that out of the way, let's play the damn game.
So here's how the game works. It's really simple, so I won't spend too long on it. You move around, digging as you do. I mean, it is called Dig Dug after all. And you go around inflating tomatoes and small frogs with wings. Oh, wait a second, my bad. Those are pukas and figars. Apparently, you were sent to these islands to exterminate these bastards so they don't invade the world. But out of all the ways to do it, why in the ass would you use a bike pump?
I mean, seriously, think about it. Imagine if that happened in real life. Like, oh, hey, there's a bunch of rabid invasive species roaming around. How do we get rid of them all? Oh, I know, a bicycle pump. Like, who thinks of that? You have to be a psychotic maniac to think of something like that. Imagine the whole mess that would leave, all those blood and guts everywhere. It would be disgusting.
But hey, that isn't the only thing you can use to kill them. For example, we can use the power of Isaac Newton to crush them with boulders. Yeah, squish them! Like the other Namco games, all you do is keep on playing.
Well, that's Dig Dug. Nothing really much to say about it. I mean, it's a Namco game. It's designed to draw you in and keep you playing. So there's really not a whole lot, which is fine. But with that out of the way, now we can talk about the Atari version. Yeah.
Now this version is practically the exact same, except, well, okay, yeah, just look at it, okay? Obviously, it's not as visually appealing, and the audio is a little chip-tuned, but it still carries the same spirit as the original game. One thing I noticed while playing is that if you stop and tap the button really fast, it actually inflates the monsters really fast. Unlike the NES version. On the NES version, I discovered the quickest way to defeat the enemies is to hold the D-pad in the direction you're facing and then spam the A button whilst moving forward. This performs a little bit of a glitch that inflates them really fast. But when you get down to it, this version is still Dig Dug. Obviously, the graphics aren't the best, but it still has that same charm. But I would obviously prefer playing the NES version over this one. Another thing about this version of Dig Dug is that it's surprisingly real easy. No joke. I mean, the fact that you can inflate the enemies quicker just makes clearing stages a breeze. I mean, watch this. Let me show you what I mean. Easy. Another thing that I just find funny is how instead of giving the Pukas and Figars unique sprites when they inflate, they just stretch out the sprites. What is this, MS fucking Paint? And the Figars look like green peeps. Yeah, remember those? I still eat those on Easter.
Yeah, the Atari version isn't as good as the NES version, but it's still Dig Dug. It still has that feel to it. But you are not ready for the ungodly and unholy truth, because Dig Dug 2 took everything good about the first game and shit it out.
Dig Dug 2, in my opinion, is just not worth playing. It's just not as addicting as the first game. There's nothing really replayable about it, especially the fact that you don't dig in this game. It's literally called Dig Dug 2. How do you take that out of the name of the game? See, in the first Dig Dug game, when you dig, it actually creates a path for the enemies to take. So if you aren't careful, you can get into serious dog shit. But in this game, they got rid of digging completely. Yeah, that's right. Instead, they introduce a new mechanic. You have to drill these holes to create cracks, and then when they conjoin together, they break off sections of the island like it's a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon. But here's the problem. This mechanic is rarely useful. I rarely even use it. Why? Because it's so goddamn slow at killing all the other enemies in a lot of stages. Especially in stages like this. I mean, honestly, how do you expect me to plan a way to break this entire island while 20 fucking tomatoes and dragons are coming for me? And sometimes the enemies hide inside each other, so you don't realize there's two of them until it's too fucking late.
I can at least say they tried something new at least. I mean, they tried to be innovative, but at the same time, they just shot themselves in the foot because they took everything fun and addicting about the first game, and it's just gone. It's just tedious work every fucking time. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. And if a game's not fun, why even bother? With that out of the way, let's move on to the last Dig Dug game. Yes, there is a last Dig Dug game that released in 2005 for the DS, Dig Dug Digging Strike. So let's whip out the DS and see just what Dig Dug's been up to in the last 15 years or whatever.
First thing you're gonna notice is that this game has cutscenes. Yeah, I said that. Cutscenes. In a game where you inflate fucking tomatoes. Okay, so apparently Dig Dug has a son, and what the hell? When did that happen? Anyway, the town is in shambles because they need Dig Dug's son to help get rid of monsters on these islands. And of course, it's referring to the Pukas and Figars and the new enemies they introduced in the game. So they call Dig Dug's house, but hold on, Tazo? Man, what kind of fucking name is that? Anyhow, Tazo gets a call, and since his son isn't there, he offers to do the job himself. But apparently, nobody knows who the hell he is. Yeah, so the story here is that Tazo, or Dig Dug, whatever you want to call him, Blue Balls McGee, whatever the hell you want to call him, is washed up, and nobody cares about him anymore. Gee, it's almost like a reflection of the series. Dig Dug used to be well known, but now he's got nothing except being put into Namco Museum games. Well, anyway, he storms off angrily, and wait, what? A tutorial? It's fucking Dig Dug! When the hell does the game need to teach me? So, I skipped that, and now, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me, more fucking cutscenes. Man, I don't care, just bring me to the goddamn game! Alright, so it's basically the same as the original, only one thing. Now, you have to dig holes where these big spires are, and when they fall all the way down, you sink the monster on the top of the screen. Oh, and when you complete a stage, guess what? Yeah, more fucking cutscenes.
Come on, I mean, like, it's supposed to be like an arcade game, right? Like, that would be like if they made a new Galaga game, but in between each and every level they put a cutscene. Like, what sense does that make? You just want to play the game. For like a game like Zelda, yeah, a cutscene is nice. That game is about story and adventure. This is just about inflating goddamn tomatoes!
Now the graphics are nice and they're really pleasant to look at, and the gameplay is still basically Dig Dug. There's just one problem. It's boring and tedious, especially when there are multiple spires for you to sink. I mean, look at this. I gotta sink 4 of these fucking things, and it takes forever. And watch out, because they can crush you too if you aren't careful. And if you linger around long enough, ghost fire guards come out and chase you. And guess what? They don't die. Believe me, I tried everything. I tried inflating them, dropping rocks on them. Hell, I even tried using one of the spires. Nothing works. This game could have been good, but it's just tedious, and I don't really feel like doing all this work. I mean, why should I even have to? I just want to go around inflating the enemies. In this game, I barely even want to do that because the main goal is to just sink the spires, and when you sink them, you complete the level. So there's really no incentive to actually go after the monsters.
That's it. I'm done. Like, this game's just too boring. Yeah, it borrowed what came before it and improved on it a little bit. I mean, it's still Dig Dug, but at the same time, it's just boring and tedious. And that's the worst part about it. It just wastes your time. You're supposed to make these spires sink into the ocean, but that completely distracts from the actual gameplay, which is inflating monsters. That's all I want to do. So in conclusion, yeah, I'm glad that they tried to revive Dig Dug, but at the same time, you just might as well play the first one on the NES, because that's the best version. Now, I know this video is going to be cutting short, but to be honest with you, I just haven't had the time.